Welcome back, everybody, to another episode. Today, I'm going to be revealing the number one sleeper set for Pokemon in 2026, in my opinion. Now, not only will I be revealing the number one sleeper set, but I will be telling you guys the exact item within that set that I think will perform very well. But first, before we get to that, what I have here are a couple slides to show general market strategies and market analysis that we can take from general, normal, everyday markets and apply it to the Pokemon world. So, before we do that, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and we'll get things rolling. So, first, here I have the overall market principles field guide. This presentation is essentially just a framework for thinking through markets, not predicting them. It's about understanding cycles, hypes, trends, and how to identify real opportunities when others miss them. That right there will be the number one thing that we go through that we can transfer from normal markets into Pokemon is missing the real opportunities. None of this is financial advice. It's about building better decision making. Okay, so we're going to go through this one by one. So, principle number one, time the market beats timing the market. Nobody's going to be able to time the tops and bottoms of markets, right? Especially in appreciating assets like Pokemon. Time in the market beats time in the market. It's simple but powerful. Most people try to perfectly buy bottoms and sell tops, but that's nearly impossible to do. In reality, the edge comes from staying invested through cycles. Scarce assets with real demand tend to go up over time, and compounding rewards patience. Missing just a few best days in a market can hurt more than avoiding the worst days. Most of the gains in the S&P and crypto and Bitcoin specifically are just a handful of days out of a year. Um, so nobody can time the tops and bottoms of markets. Time in the market is always better than time in the market. Um, why timing fails? Timing fails because markets are driven by emotion, not a schedule. There's no bell that rings the bottom or the top. This chart right here essentially shows the stages that markets go through. At extremes, people feel either fear or euphoria. That's exactly when judgment gets distorted. The cycle usually goes from recovery to rotation to euphoria, then back down through capitulation. Currently, I think the Pokemon market is in the beginning stages of this euphoria era. With the 30th anniversary coming up, singles booming, packs booming. You see Ascended Heroes popping off $156 for an ETB right now, and the freaking set hasn't even been out for I don't know, like a month or 5 weeks or something like that. It's crazy, 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 crazy. So we are absolutely somewhere in this beginning stages of the Euphoria era, in my opinion. I've only been here for a couple months now, but judging from how what I see people reacting in the Pokemon market compared to what I've seen in the stocks and crypto market, it's the same feel. It's the same feel. Prediction feels good in the moment, but it often breaks under pressure. What actually survives is having a process, rules that guide your decisions instead of reacting emotionally. Understanding this philosophy and this thesis and recognizing where we are in patterns and cycles will help you in your decision making. Um, all right, so I love this one. Buy the rumors, sell the news. All markets are forward thinking. Stock market, crypto market, Pokemon market, anybody with a big wallet lives by one of these principles. And again, these are very basic principles that we're going to use. More videos that I put out will go further and further into more market analysis and thought process, but these are the very basic principles. They price expectations before events happen. So by the time the news becomes official, a lot of the move has already occurred. Take 151 for example. The lead up to the end of the print cycle, 151 boomed. When I first saw 151, the price was like $80 or $90 for a booster bundle. Now it's 180. Same you go for the ETBs, UPCs, and stuff like that. But now that it's actually officially out of print cycle, the prices have stagnated and actually dropped a little bit because people built their positions before the hype started, and people started selling off into that pressure who had built their positions down below. Now the prices are stagnant, dropping a little bit. Of course, it'll go up over time because of lack of supply, and the demand will probably still be there because it's a quality set. But you can see that it's stagnated and it's leveled off in price once the news actually came. First, you get anticipation. People start forming a narrative. The end of the print cycle. Then hype builds, volume and attention increase. Volume spiked. It was everywhere on people's social media, and now things leveled off. And finally, distribution. Larger players sell into that liquidity. The key idea is that the headline isn't the starting point, it's often the exit point for early investors. Remember that. Catch the movement before the news happens. Before people start talking about it, and as people are starting to talk about it, that's when you build your position. All right, so the next one is identify market trends early. This is the next step of buy the rumor, sell the news. Identify things before the rumors start circulating. Trend recognition isn't about predicting the future. It's about observing where money is flowing right now. So markets constantly rotate between sectors like tech, energy, defensive assets, general markets, crypto, risk on, risk off. You also see shifts between risk on and risk off environments depending on conditions. One key signal is volume. Unusual spikes can indicate institutional activity or major shifts. So let's take Prismatic, for example. The ETBs went from about $1.40 to $2.10, $2.20. They got a reprint. They came back down to about 160, 170, even as low as like 150 or 155. But the volume, boom, skyrocketed once that dip happened. Those are the key factors you need to look for when you're looking for quality assets. As if a dip happens, how is the volume? How are people buying it? Are people scooping it up? That's where you identify quality hard assets. Prismatic is one of those things that is clearly an example of that. Volume shot up when the reprint happened. So clearly it's in demand. Clearly it's a quality asset. Perfect time for accumulation. No, that is not the set we're talking about today. Because that's already in the rumor news and talking about it right now. But it still is a quality set. The goal is to catch trends before they feel obvious, because once they're obvious, most of the move is already done. I wouldn't say most of the move is already done with Prismatic, but the move started already. So you better catch on board with that. Principle number 4, identify quality assets. Price gets attention, but fundamentals determine if that attention lasts. The first thing to look for is revenue, real repeatable growth. That's traditionally more in the traditional markets. Are customers actually paying and sticking around? Are people actually buying the packs? Are people opening the packs? Are people enjoying the packs? Looking for sleepers that are getting ripped open and ripping chips. People posting on social media, but the price is still stagnant. That's what you need to look for. The second is network effects. Does the asset become more valuable as more people use it, as more people rip it? Is it going up in price? The strongest assets become more defensible and more useful over time, which supports long-term value. So, number 7, find quality outside the spotlight. Everybody and their mother are talking about Ascended Heroes, 151, Prismatic Evolutions. Those are in the spotlight right now. Those prices are appreciating. Destined Rivals. Those guys are the ones that are in the spotlight right now. They're seeing price movements. You need to identify quality assets that have high volume that are not in the social spotlight right now. Some of the best opportunities are assets that already had hype but cooled off. Look back 1 to 3 years, which is about the normal print cycle for new releases. What was popular and what was forgotten. That's going to be one of the key things in the item I'm going to be talking about that happened and is happening currently. Then separate attention from fundamentals. Did the asset actually get worse, or do people just move on to the next hype thing? Often opportunity looks boring at first. When prices go up and then go down and are stagnant, but it's still a quality asset, that's when opportunity is. That's when you scoop up, build your position. The key is to build a watch list, not a reaction list, so you're prepared when attention comes back. That deal setup is quality still intact, sentiment low, valuation reset, and early signs of interest returning. That's something we'll go over here in a second. So overall, this is pretty much just a checklist to run before making any decision, buying, selling, or holding. First, is your time horizon longer than the noise? Second, what's already priced in? Are you late to the trade? 151, buying 151 right now? Yeah, it could be a good thing overall for the long run, but you're not going to see any sort of major price appreciation in the short term because that's already happened. Third, where's capital rotating to right now? Four, are fundamentals actually improving? Did attention leave while quality remained? And finally, what would prove you wrong? Defining risk ahead of time is what separates disciplined investors from emotional ones. At the end of the day, success in markets isn't about being right all the time. It's about having a framework that keeps you consistent when others aren't. So that goes back to time in the market, not timing the market. Buying the rumor, selling the news, being prepped for all these things, you will be successful. All right, so to unveil what I'm getting at with this, pretty much just market fundamentals and tying it into Pokemon is going to be this set coming up right here. So let me share here. Boom. Surging Sparks, specifically the booster box. Currently, as you can see here, the last 6 months, year, the price is fluctuating. This is the sleeper set for 2026. The price, since I've been watching it, the price has been going from 240 to 260. In that range right here, nice sideways accumulation because of the quantity that's been put out in the market. Has been pumped in machines, reprint after reprint. It's got the nostalgia Pikachu. It's got the set value overall is about $1,200 currently. Since I started watching it, it was roughly $950 a couple months ago. And as you can see, it's risen to $1,200. You can see here, the trend is up over the last couple of months. Like I said, it's about 25 to 30% of an overall value of a set gain. Usually in Pokemon, what I've noticed people talk about is the card value and the overall set value goes up, and the attention draws there, and then after a little bit, the sealed investments for that set increase as well. Also, a year from now, this goes out of rotation. So just like 151, buying the rumor, sell the news, building up a position when something of quality is out of the spotlight. This was hyped one to 2 years ago when it first came out. It was going to be the next big thing. Everybody was on board with it. Everybody was talking about it. So it had the attention then. It died down because others took the spotlight. But now, before the narrative comes around of it going out of rotation, just like Prismatic, just like 151, this is the time to build a position in something of quality. So as you can see here, the singles prices were stagnant. January. This is the Pikachu, another nostalgia Pokemon. Everybody knows Pikachu. Not everybody likes the crown on it. But as you can see here, the price of the main card was stagnant forever. And then now it's starting to trend up. People are starting to notice. People are starting to build a position. The supply is starting to not meet demand. So now the price is going up. You need to catch these trends before they start happening. Same with Latias. It was down here for a while. People built a position right around the same time as the Pikachu. started going up. Now it's making a move up. Same thing with this Pikachu. Everything. Shout out to Double Hollow, by the way. Fantastic site. I will be doing a full review of it very soon. But yeah, so as you can see here, things were building up for a while, and right around the same time as everything else, the individual sets or individual cards in the set starting to go up. So taking all this into effect and into consideration, you also have to listen to other big players in the game. What I've noticed, people who have been around for a while that aren't trying to show you stuff or sell you stuff. So we're going to take a look at a couple of videos from other YouTubers talking about the same things that I am with Surging Sparks. So here we have PokeProfit, and one of his most recent videos 5 days ago, he talks about Surging Sparks, and he talks about how he thinks that the level that the Surging Sparks booster boxes are at right now are not going to remain. So let's listen to what he says.
Video. I am going to throw this back up on screen for anyone who's late to the live. I guess I can go down like that. Perfect. You guys can still see. Surging Sparks is the big winner of the week in the SV era, which is kind of why.
Now, one thing I want you guys to look at while we're looking at this slide right here, I don't know how it's going to come visibly for you, but here he has the volume for all the SV-based booster boxes as Destined Rivals, Surging Sparks, Stellar Crown, Twilight Masquerade, Temporal Forces, Journey Together, so on and so forth. As you can see here, Surging Sparks has 47 buys per day across TCG Player, eBay, so on and so forth, not including Facebook Marketplace and stuff. That is more than all the other SV-based booster boxes in the SV era combined. Repeat that, as more than all the other SV-based booster boxes combined. When you see volume, when you see reprints, when you see supply get put on the market, and the volume ticks up incredibly like that, that's how you know that's a strong asset you need to build a position in.
Why I titled the live stream how I did. I don't think these booster boxes are going to stay at $250 for long. It doesn't seem likely. Again, unless we get more supply on the market, it kind of seems like these are due for a little bit of a run, at least.
So we're going to stop that because of the ad, because I don't want you guys to listen to the ad. But when people say stuff like that, you have to anticipate a trend coming up because other people are going to echo that same sentiment. Now let's go to Twice Baked Jake. 3 days ago, he also talked about Surging Sparks booster box. Let's see what he has to say.
The next set that I would like to recommend is Surging Sparks, which is currently sitting at around $248 a booster box. Now, why do I think this is a very strong entry point? Because if you look at the price of Surging Sparks compared to all the other sets next to it, it's really clear that Surging Sparks is the best pickup for that little era. If you look at it compared to Stellar Crown, Twilight Masquerade, Temporal Forces, Paradox Rift, all of these sets that I'm currently naming, their prices are currently sitting at around $300 for a booster box. And I think Surging Sparks is a better set than all of these other sets at the time that Surging Sparks released. It's really clear that Surging Sparks is a cut above all of these other sets. One of the reasons why it's currently cheaper than these other sets is because Surging Sparks had a decent restock, but I do think that's going to be consumed as a lot more people rip open booster packs of Surging Sparks. And I only think it's a matter of time before Surging Sparks climbs to its appropriate spot, which is a little bit more expensive than Twilight Masquerade, Stellar Crown, Temporal Forces. So the correct price point for a Surging Sparks booster box, if you believe all of these market prices are true, it should probably be sitting around closer to $320 to maybe like $350 a booster box, because it is better than all of these other sets.
Now, what he said about the price, it is better than all those other sets, but right now Pokemon's in a bull market, so everything is going to go extremely on the extreme end of rallies. So once Surging Sparks gets the actual attention of, hey, this is going to be coming out of rotation towards leading up to about the end of the year, it's going to spike up way higher than it should be. So 330, 340, 350, in my opinion, is going to be actually on the low end to where we could see the booster boxes at, just because of the hype and euphoria phase that we are in currently in Pokemon, which could last until the new print facility comes out. So again, Surging Sparks booster box, probably one of the top pickups of 2026 if you can build a good position. It is absolutely going to be my personal sleeper set of the year. And then stay tuned for the next video to find out more about what's going on. So go pick up your booster boxes, like and subscribe down below, and we got more for you coming up. Later.